There has been, over the last 10 years, a resurgence of a new kind of character trope. And I realized that after I watched not just Begonia, but most recently after watching both Paradise and Project Hail Mary. This is the white lady utilitarian. This concept is kind of a subset of the girl boss hustler archetype, which in a broader way contains characters like Annalise Keating, things like that. But the utilitarian character is a unique trope whereby the story imbues them with the sense that the things that they are doing are necessary for a larger moral and selfless goal. So they're not in it for wealth. They're not in it for power. They're not in it for pleasure. They are in it to achieve some goal that a normal moral audience might at least somewhat sympathize with. So characters like this are Amanda Waller, Cecil, Nick Fury. Batman is this character often, and most recently Sinatra in Paradise, or the woman from Project Hail Mary, Eva Strat. So these characters are trying their best to wrangle national security or keep supervillains in check or keep the world from generally devolving into chaos. And in pursuit of that, they are frequently required to do horrible things. They're required to kill people, enslave people, mutilate people, employ people who are horrific, rapists, genociders, whatever else. But I've noticed recently that some of these characters, progressively more, have become women, which is an extension of the idea that progress for women looks like replicating the most violent but most powerful behaviors from men. Girl boss, right? You're a girl, but you're a boss, with the implication meaning that boss is good, even though bosses cause harm. And we see that rhetoric is often used as a way of justifying bad behavior on the part of women trying to achieve a larger goal. But again, the utilitarian white lady is not in it just for the pursuit of wealth and power. She has been tasked with saving the world in some way. She's the sword holder, if any of you have read Three Body Problem. So in a story like this character will decide that, hey, we need to pave the entire Sahara with solar panels so that we can enrich enough rocket fuel to be able to get to this other planet. It's going to absolutely destroy the ecology of that area in a way that will be irreparable for years to come. She's a character who in the book says we can't have any women on this ship because not because there's anything inherently wrong, but that the risk of copulation between astronauts, if we have male astronauts, is going to be a huge problem. Now you might say, well, why not then say you can't have any men? And she says, well, the vast majority of people working in STEM who are qualified for this particular role are going to be men. So if we have to niche down to one particular gender subcategory, we need heterosexual men only. Otherwise, we cause a problem if we have a journey that's lasting, 4 or 5 years. Sinatra is willing to commit murder of multiple people in order to get technology, in order to cover up previous murders. And all of these are because her goal is not to be a good person. Her goal is not to be kind to the people that she meets in her day-to-day life. The conceit of these kinds of characters is that what they are doing is sacrificing the moral fabric of their own life, which for most of us, that's relational. Our life is how we interact with our friends, with our coworkers, with our lovers. But for this character, they have a higher calling. So the way they treat their friends, the way they treat their family, their children, their parents is irrelevant because they are tasked with shepherding humanity. So if Batman's a bad boyfriend, doesn't matter. His goal is not to be a good husband or a good person or a good man or a good father. It's to keep Gotham safe by any means necessary, personal or otherwise. For a character like Sinatra, it's I'll kill whoever needs to be killed. I'll lie to whoever needs to be lied to. I'll enslave whoever needs to be enslaved to, because my goal and my obligation isn't to any one person that I know or love, however much I may know or love them. My obligation isn't even to humanity as it exists now. My obligation is to a hypothetical version of humanity that exists hundreds of years in the future, long after I'm gone. The issue, of course, with these characters is that it presents a version of the trolley problem that we're rarely presented with in the real world. And while we really, really love the idea of this trolley problem of like, oh my God, would you be willing to like shoot your mom in the head in order to stop nuclear war? Sure. Would you have the moral strength to be able to make that decision? Maybe not. So characters like this are special and necessary. And so if you are a fan of things like Ron Johnson's book, The Wisdom of Psychopaths, this kind of character is meant to be an entry into the idea of that exact kind of value. But in the real world, we rarely have a trolley problem. Usually it's like, in order to achieve some goal, you may have to sacrifice some people, but it's usually not as horrendous or unclear as let's just murder this one guy. So that's the problem with that. And I think it's an interesting character, and it's a type of character that is probably necessary because villains are usually complicated and present us with questions that aren't easily answered, and having a variety of characters who look and experience the world in different ways, but then still come to villainous conclusions in how they're going to behave is absolutely vital. Which is why black villains, female villains, queer villains are all essential. This has been the Utilitarian White Lady.